What's the matter with you, boy?
They won't let me go to Black Ops. They say I'm too little. No one ever lets you do anything when you're too little.
Ah, phooey. What about all the stories about the little people that do big things? Like Little Red Riding Hood, them Three Little Pigs, Spike Lee, or them Little Rascals. You ever hear the story about the little engine that could? Let me tell you that story. Once upon a time, deep in the jungle, there was a little engine that could. He was chugging his way across the enemy line. Chugga 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 choo choo. This little engine mission was to take some AK-47s and a nuclear payload over the mountain to the 2063 Battalion. Needless to say, there was plenty opposition. Think that stopped the little engine that could? No sir, Bob, he just kept chugging along. Chugga 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 chugga. Choo! Choo! Not even when they climbed aboard the train and popped out the eyes of the conductor. Blood and snot was ripping out his eye sockets. Think that stopped the little engine that could? Damn Skippy, he just kept chugging along. Chugga 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 chugga. Choo! Choo! It wasn't until Charlie rigged the bridge with plastic explosive. Just as the little engine was making his way across the dresser. Boom! An explosion happened. Blood and guts and spitting ass was everywhere. And Bubba come crawling out the back door. Both legs missing. Lula baby boy. He looked up at me. He said, "Hey, I can't feel my legs." I said, "Bubba, they ain't dead." And I looked down, and them little bloody nubs was kicking real fast like this here. And I said, "Bubba, it's 30 miles to the nearest town. Unless you can flip upside down and walk on your head, you ain't gonna make it." All of a sudden, Charlie was all over the place. Just me and my side on. And I had no other alternative but to blast my way out. Die, pig, die! You'll never take Major Payne winner for Payne alive! Bam! I saw what you did to my friends! Bam!
Major! Major! Major!
Bam!
A modern day remake of Matthew Vaughn's Layer Kick. A Coen brothers end up with Timothy Chalamet. A Citizen Kane prequel, a Midnight Cowboy sequel. Alvin and the Chipmunks deserve another squeakquel. There's so many new ways to revisit sideways, but a graphic novel is how we choose to update. But we still hold fast, you can't change the past on the Ruined Childhoods podcast.
Greetings, Starfighters, Dogwoods, and Streakers. This is Ruined Childhoods, and we are in the final stretch of our cross-country exploration of the movies that celebrate each U.S. state. On this episode, we are in Old Dominion. This state is also known as the Mother of Presidents, given that it is the birthplace of the most U.S. presidents: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, Zachary Taylor. Sorry, I said John Tyler, Zachary Taylor, and Woodrow
Zachary
Wilson.
Ty Bryan?
Zachary Ty Bryan. I don't know where Zachary Ty Bryan was born.
I'll get on this. You have some more presidents to list, I think.
No, that's it. Woodrow Wilson. In this state, it's illegal to tickle a woman or to fondle her bottom. And speaking of asses, it's illegal to wash a donkey on the sidewalk. But most notably, this state is for lovers. That's right, we're in Virginia. Dan, there's a famous actress who was born Virginia, but goes by a different first name. Any guesses?
Wait, who was born with the name?
Whose first name is Virginia by birth, but goes by a different first name.
Okay, any connection to today's movie?
No, zero connection to today's, but what I will say is there is a connection, I believe, to the Olympics, which is, as we are recording, currently going. Okay. And this is an actress who we've talked about plenty before. I'd say most popular in the 80s and 90s.
Okay, all right. So far, I aside from the Olympics thing, which I'm having trouble making a connection there, but the first name that came to my mind, John, your other descriptors do match up.
Okay,
Someone who was at the height of their career in the 80s and into the 90s, and that we've talked about on several episodes. So
several episodes, maybe even the last episode, her name came up.
Wait.
Who are you thinking? Who are you thinking?
Yeah, no. I think that if you're referencing the conversation, I think you're referencing where we were talking about actresses who were big. I forget. I'm like, who are we talking about that led into that discussion?
Meryl Streep,
right?
Diane Keaton,
like Glenn Close. Yeah. So the name, so the person that first name that popped into my head, Gina Davis.
That's correct.
Yes.
Way to go. So
honestly, John, I could have said that. That's if you had just asked me the question and said you get one guess without any hints. Honestly, that was the first name that popped into my head. And anyone who listens, who is a true starfighter and is familiar with our past knows that I have sometimes totally drawn blanks or swung and missed on John's questions.
It's hard to be put on the spot.
I am taking, and it's fun and I enjoy it regardless, but yes, Gina Davis. Wonderful.
What was it about Gina Davis? Did you know that Gina wasn't like her given name?
Well, I do think at some point I read that. I couldn't tell you in what, but I've read a couple of articles, a couple of interviews with her over the years, and especially like when her memoir came out, and also
which is called My Name is Virginia.
Sweet Virginia. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. Gina, also, I heard, so Virginia, I hear Gina in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also Gina Davis, very skilled archer, who I believe at one point was qualifying for the Olympics. I might be mistaken on that.
Okay. No. I mean, that also sounds familiar. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. Was I reading up when we were going to do the Tootsie episode?
I mean, that would have probably been the one, or Quick Change.
Well, yeah, have we done Beetle? We've done Beetlejuice.
We did, right? Beetlejuice, yeah. Yeah. So Quick Change, Gina Davis archery. The long almost made the 2000 Olympics.
The 2000 Olympics?
Yeah.
Oh, so this wasn't like even before she was an actress. This was like after she had her
participated
career.
in the 2000 Sydney Olympics qualifier.
Wow.
And finished 24th.
Wow. So not even like, when she was right out of high school, she did that. She did that after she had an Oscar already. Like,
she began her interest in archery in 96 when she was watching the Atlanta Olympic Games and found herself drawn to footage of athletes aiming for the bullseye.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that, right? Gina Davis. I'm kind of glad I didn't know that. I'm glad I learned that right here, right now. But it just is another thing that I really admire about Gina Davis.
Oh, just the coolest.
Like no, she was like watching it, and then 4 years later was like, I'm going to do the Olympic. Like she must have invested wisely, like during her really meaty career years where she was jumping from hit movie to hit movie.
Yeah.
So and it's not like she's retired. She definitely does still work, but I think she works kind of when and where she chooses, and
as she should.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to see a Gina Davis like in a significant, like a big movie again. I don't know if that means like an award season movie, because she's definitely got the chops.
I feel like a lot of actors of kind of like her style and caliber are kind of showing up in a lot of these like teen dystopia movies as kind of like the the overlord at the end.
Right.
You
right.
know, like they're Kate Winslet's and I don't know. I see like who's the one?
I think Meryl did one.
Did Meryl do one? Julianne Moore did the thing with the Hunger Games.
Meryl did The Giver.
Meryl did The Giver. That's right.
Yeah. Julianne Moore in the Hunger Games. Yeah, definitely. Jodie Foster's done it. I want to say Elysium,
Jodie Foster,
at least.
I was thinking Jodie Foster, but I couldn't pinpoint exactly which one she did.
Yeah, I mean, I think Elysium is the one that's closest to like that role. Has Sigourney Weaver.
Right. So, well, Sigourney Weaver, although she's not the baddie, she's kind of like the elder in Avatar, kind of like the on the good side commanding officer.
Well, she's like, the head scientist, and I didn't see the second one, so I don't know if she's become
not my thing. It wasn't my thing.
No, I got the sense it wasn't my thing either. I don't know. I feel like
no shade to James Cameron, but
no. Though I have to say, and then we could kind of move on from this. Looking at other James Cameron films, when James Cameron was kind of, I mean, he's a working director now, but he pretty much he's kind of like, all right, I'm just gonna do Avatar like until I die. Yeah, like I'm king of the world. I can do what I want. But I feel like up until Titanic, you look at James Cameron movies, True Lies, Terminator 2, Terminator 1, even The Abyss, though not as much as the others, but like James Cameron made fun movies, and True Lies is so much fun. So like, man, I would love for James Cameron to just like, maybe stop being the king of the world and like hook up with Arnold or do something. And like, I'm not saying go back and do True Lies too, but I'm saying like, come up with something new. Be like, hey, James, like Cameron and Schwarzenegger back together one more time. What is the best way to do this?
Well, I think that what you're getting at is just, let's see him do something without CGI. And just like limited CGI.
Yes.
Where it's just like real practical locations and people just kind of being awesome.
Where the movie isn't
with a compelling
like
story.
The movie isn't like, hey, I came up with this cool shit. Someone write a story that we can use it for.
Yeah. So anyway, going back to things that were better in the 90s and the let's talk about something that was also big in the 90s, the Wayanses. We talked about them quite a bit on our Hollywood Shuffle episode, but that was quite a while ago, and I don't think that we've really touched on them in a major way since then.
No, I mean, Earth Girls Are Easy.
Well, we've talked about him, but like,
no, just I think General Wayans legacy. We haven't really touched. Not to say that we won't. Like, A Low Down Dirty Shame is a great Wayans movie to go back to. I'm Gonna Get You Sucker.
I'm Gonna Get You Sucker is great. Yeah. Oh, I loved a lot of the Wayans stuff, especially in the 90s. In Living Color, it was so much fun. And and also it's like, Marlon and Sean, they kind of went off and they did like, what was their sitcom?
The Wayanses.
Right? It's just the Wayanses?
Yeah, the Wayans brothers.
The Wayans brothers. That's what it was. Which had a great theme song. And that was really great. And they of course did like White Chicks.
Well, they were, I think their kind of like, big movie that they came out with was Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. I'm not, by the way, if you're watching this on Spotify or whatnot, I am not looking at that on my phone. I just have the cast
I could have also recited that title.
Okay. No, I don't know, but I also worked in video stores when that came out. So
yeah. Well, I mean, that was huge. And also the impact of the Wayans and parody movies, the scary movie movies.
When Wayans met Zucker.
Yeah. And it was perfect. And they're so good at doing that. And for me, I think that, and you maybe feel the same way, but like Damon Wayans was kind of like the guy in that group.
Yes. Well, okay. So Damon Wayans, of course, stood out from his minuscule scene in Beverly Hills Cop.
So good.
Telling Axel Foley to take the bananas. I know. Yeah. I mean, I'm only slightly surprised that they didn't bring back that character in Axel Foley. Sorry, spoiler alert. But anyway, watch Axel Foley. It's a lot of fun.
Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F.
Yes. Sorry, that's what I meant. Yes.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Good time. But Damon Wayans kind of, he came out in that movie, and then like I think Hollywood Shuffle was more Keenan Ivory was on board with that, but that was a more independent underground thing. Mm-hmm. And then you have Damon Wayans popping up, and we talked about Earth Girls Are Easy, where he's with Jim Carrey, and then In Living Color.
Yeah, and
he is so featured in Living Color. He's Homie the Clown.
Yeah.
He's the, Men on Film.
Yeah. And I think that Homie the Clown it just sent a shockwave through like my school.
Oh, Homie, don't play that. I will, that will still come out of this mouth on occasion.
Yeah. It's so funny and just kind of like hit, especially my age group, in just the right way at the right time, because also it's like that was like Beavis and Butthead era. It's kind of like, characters on TV aren't playing nice. They're not doing the things that they used to do. And that was just perfect for my generation.
Right. And it was subversive, and it was sketch comedy it's like they didn't have the token black guy, they had the token white guy,
Jim Carrey,
and white woman Kelly Caulfield.
Yeah.
But that show also, remember, like that show introduced us to Rosie. Rosie Perez
is one of the dancers.
Thing, and then she was one of the Fly Girls.
The Fly Girls, right?
Right. See, like the Fly Girls, but and like Jamie Foxx.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Really stood out. David Alan Grier.
David Alan Grier. Absolutely. Yep. David Alan Grier. There were a few others, but it was definitely, it was like, here's a different voice in sketch comedy that the national audience is not hearing. And Damon Wayans was a huge part in defining them. And also like he was the person that people reckon, like, yeah, Jim Carrey had done, like Jim Carrey had been in, Peggy Sue Got Married.
Yeah.
So, it's not just like Once Bitten.
He was a working actor.
Yeah. He was a working actor, a familiar face, like someone familiar to audiences, but Damon Wayans, was kind of the centerpiece with as performer, with Keenan Ivory Wayans as kind of the visionary behind it. Also, great performer in his own right. The famous Mike Tyson sketch. Hi, Robin. That one.
Oh yeah, it's so good. I think that also something that stood out about not just the Wayans, but especially Damon Wayans, is that he had a much like broader appeal, or at least that's kind of the impression that I got. And that's why you do get movies like Major Payne that exist as just like, it's a comedy. It's not necessarily a black comedy. And what I mean that more of like for black audiences, but it's a comedy for everybody. And it's marketed that way. And of course it's all in the marketing for everything.
Well, and to your point, to Damon Wayans, like going back to Damon Wayans, just kind of like that timeline leading up to Major Payne, you've got the In Living Color comes out, and then bam, Last Boy Scout.
Oh, Last Boy Scout.
A tentpole, like a major studio tentpole action flick that we have we've done that one, right? Haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Yes.
And I only know that we have because I am just thinking about, oh my God, what's his name who plays the villain in that?
Oh, well, not Taylor Negron. Noble
Taylor
Willingham.
Negron is who I'm thinking
Oh,
of.
Taylor Negron is the assassin.
Yeah.
Also a big comedy
Yeah.
comedy name. Pour one out.
I'm just thinking about Taylor Negron's incredible performance in that. I love it.
He's fantastic.
And I remember us talking at length about that, and he is on our the episode artwork prominently.
But like that's a movie that I will watch frequently enough that I actually can't remember. I'm like, did I when was the last time I watched that, and was it for this, or did I just watch it for fun? So anyway, and then Blank Man
classic.
Came
what
out
year was
summer
Blank Man? 94?
94.
Yeah.
Summer 94. I don't know how that, I don't remember how that necessarily did. It might have done
well in our household.
What I remember, it was definitely like once it was on HBO.
It's a cult classic.
Yeah.
I don't think that it necessarily performed amazingly, but it struck a chord with people on home video and on HBO. And I think that it's one that a lot of people likely revisit. It's so much fun.
Right. Yeah. I'm a superhero. Yeah, I haven't seen that in such a long time, but, and you know, I'm looking at his filmography now, and just like some movies stand out to me. I always enjoyed Bulletproof.
Bulletproof
that he
is
did
great.
with Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
It was a good,
that was kind of Adam Sandler trying to do something a little bit different.
Right. Well, and you know what, I'm going to come back to that when we come back to Major Payne. He is in perhaps my favorite Spike Lee movie, Bamboozled.
Oh, cool.
It's hard to say what my favorite Spike Lee movie is.
My cool was that's your favorite, not like I didn't know that he was in it.
Oh, yeah, no. He has an amazing, he's got a lot of amazing scenes, but he's got an amazing monologue that relates to stereotypes around Black people and like being on time. He does a whole speech on it, and it's like, wow. But then also, before Major Payne in 92, he's in another summer movie that I think it kind of underperforms, but maybe, you know, it underperformed for me. I don't remember it being a huge hit, but you know, I was like 15. So, but Mo Money,
yeah.
I mean, like the movie has nothing to do with In Living Color, except that the title is taken from another one of his sketches where it was the guys who were like, you know, basically selling stolen merchandise and talking about they were making mo money.
Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, and for any new listeners, Dan and I are brothers. We grew up in the same household.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have a Mo Money, not like poster, but like insert from
the Premiere magazine
hanging on your wall?
I'm sure after I watched it, because that was the rule. Couldn't hang up the poster until I saw the movie.
Got it. Okay.
So I'm almost positive that after I watched it, yeah, because it was like if I watched a movie and I had the Premiere magazine, I didn't throw out my Premiere magazines. There was definitely a Mo Money picture up, and yeah, along with a lot. It was just a wonderful grid. I wish I had more pictures. There are a few photos where you see in the background, you've got like the Dark Man promotional, like who is Dark Man
right
out there. Because Premiere magazine was like bigger than other magazines, and
awesome. Bigger, just size dimensions. Were a little different.
But one that I never had up was Major Payne, because I did not in fact see it until the last 48 hours.
Oh my God. What did you think?
I never saw it before. So first of all, I'll go with my kind of preconceived notions. And I always saw this movie as kind of the B-side to Billy Madison.
Okay.
Not because, it's built around a comedian from TV. Damon Wayans, I was going to say, like, you know, one from In Living Color, one from SNL. Damon Wayans also did a stint on SNL. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking for when Billy Madison came out, because I'm pretty sure they were released within weeks of each other. No. It was
Or was it
95, and I think it was either this it couldn't
Major
have been
Payne
this-
was March 24th, 95.
Yeah, Billy Madison is February 10th, 95.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
I knew it was around. I remember it was, it was somewhere because I remember talking to someone who had seen it when we were in rehearsal for the spring musical.
Oh, okay.
That year. I was a senior in high school. I didn't see Billy Madison until I was in college, but I always saw Major Payne as kind of the B-side, and that one came out, and it was kind of like the similar, like, we're going to put this, comedian that's not necessarily known for kid-friendly stuff, and we're going to put them in a movie with kids, and, a little different.
So Major Payne was produced by, Damon Wayans' production company in part, Wife and Kids Productions. And he would later go on and have the sitcom by Wife and Kids. And just thinking about it, Damon Wayans Jr., and I think he has other children too, but Damon Wayans Jr., I know specifically is I think a year younger than I am. So at that time, he would have been. What's that?
He was on Happy Endings. Was that the name of the show?
Yes, he was on Happy
Funny
Endings.
show? Yeah.
He was also on New Girl. He's been in Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar.
Yes, in a lot of things.
A lot of things, yeah. But Damon Wayans Jr. would have been, 10 or around the time this was coming out. So I do wonder if there was something around Damon Wayans wanting to do something where he's around kids, seeing as how he's around kids and probably is having a lot of fun and probably messing around with different characters and different voices and things like that in his parenting. That's just kind of what I am envisioning. I have no proof about this, but I'm just it makes sense to me that he would be at this point in his life doing a movie that's for kids, so that it's maybe something that his kids could watch and would want to watch.
It makes a lot of sense. And honestly, actually watching this movie, I have to say I underestimated it. And there were a lot of things that I saw in it that look, I did not have high expectations for it, but
it is what it's supposed to be.
But it exceeded my expectations in areas where I didn't expect it to.
Gotcha.
Right. I was like, oh, are they going to make this guy is he going to end up being a fraud? Is he going to be all talk? And it's okay. He's not.
He is who he is. Shall I do a synopsis and then we'll get into
please.
it? Okay.
S'il vous plaît.
Major Benson Winifred Payne is a military lifer. He longs to serve his country by killing as many bad guys as possible. But when he fails to advance ranks, his commanding officer tells him that he must be discharged from the military, honorably. Unable to adapt to civilian life, Benson manages to get placed as the instructor for a Virginia boarding school's junior ROTC program. This group of kids is not exactly what Benson had in mind. They vary in age, shape, size, and attitude. And he's not what they had in mind. He is ruthlessly mean and doesn't appear to care about them in the slightest. But Benson has one weakness. He has the hots for Emily, a teacher at the school. And wouldn't you know it, she likes him too. With her influence, Benson finds a way to get through to the kids, gaining their respect. And they just might have a chance to win the Military Games trophy, competing against other schools' junior ROTC programs. So, Damon Wayans is Major Benson Payne. Karen Parsons, a.k.a. Hillary Banks, is Emily. We have William Hickey as the headmaster of the school, who's really into bugs, butterflies, whatever.
Yeah.
Steve Martini is the kind of lead kid. He's got a bad attitude.
Alex?
We have a little appearance of Michael Ironside, who's Alex's stepdad. Stepdad?
Yeah.
I think stepdad.
Yeah.
Orlando Brown is kind of the little kid who's really cute and fun.
Yeah.
He has a lot of really great scenes with Damon Wayans. There's there's a bunch of other kids in this. There was one who stood out.
There's the
kid kind of gone on.
There's the kid with the ears who he's in a lot of stuff from that era.
Yeah, I'm blanking on his name. I should look him up. But we also have Andrew Harrison Leeds, who's kind of a brown noser, and he is now or has gone on to be in Let's see. There's like a show that he's like a main the patient. He's main cast. Ghosts. He's a recurring role on.
Oh, okay.
The Connors recurring role. A Million Little Things. Like, dude acts and is on a lot of TV shows.
Great.
But yeah, so he's there a lot. And then, yeah, the kid with the big ears. He was in like every movie like this at the time.
Yeah, so like I feel like he was in The Little Rascals for some reason.
I don't know if he was in The Little Rascals.
Yeah, but like he was at least considered to be in The Little Rascals.
He was
they saw him for The Little Rascals.
Chris Owen.
He looks like he joined Sugar Ray if you look at his picture on
kind of, yeah.
Oh right, he's the Shermanator. He's the Shermanator in American Pie.
He's the Shermanator. That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Oh, and he was okay. So he was
in a lot of the American movies.
He was in October Sky.
Okay.
That's a wonderful movie.
American Pie presents Band Camp, Dorm Days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Van Wilder, Ready to Rumble.
Okay.
She's All That.
That makes
Can't
sense.
Hardly Wait. He was in all of those movies.
Yep. Yeah.
Exactly. He had a funny look.
Well, he had a unique. He had a standout look that worked for this type of movie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You were like, oh, we got to have that kid in here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's
works.
The kid who you'd see a role written for.
Totally. And it works for this kind of a movie, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And also, we cannot go on any longer without mentioning the director of this movie, Nick Castle.
Of course.
Who we all know and love as the director of The Last Starfighter, and who many also know and love as Michael Myers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like the OG Michael Myers.
That's Nick Castle, a man who's worn many masks.
Sure.
Assuming he at some point maybe tried on the Greg mask or something. I don't know.
I feel like there's a definite tonal shift between The Last Starfighter and Major Payne. I don't see the decision process happening, although I can't say I'm too familiar with his other directing work.
No, but they're two different animals, The Last Starfighter and Major Payne.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm just pulling up his IMDb right now, and he wrote The Boy Who Could Fly.
Okay,
Let's see, director. He wrote the story for Hook.
Oh, okay.
Did he write Escape from New York? He wrote Escape
from
New York.
Yes. He co-wrote Escape from New York, yeah.
Interesting. So, he's got a lot of really interesting career. That's for sure. So, Nick Castle.
Absolutely. And then, I don't know, maybe he needed a new house or something. So, he did Major Payne. So.
I don't think that there's anything, any reason why somebody would, avoid something like Major Payne going into it, because it makes a lot of sense. It's a bankable actor who is doing a silly comedy for a broad audience.
Proven formula.
Was this PG? It was probably
PG-13.
It was PG-13. Okay.
PG-13.
So you're not getting as big of an audience as you probably could have gotten, but
but like Kindergarten Cop was PG-13. So
yeah.
And it definitely, I would say, Hughes. I mean, Billy Madison's PG-13. These are all they're all.
Billy Madison is not for children, though.
No. This one is definitely more for children.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, you kind of went into it thinking that it was something that it wasn't. What were some of the things that stood out to you that you liked?
I liked that the character stays true to himself. Mm-hmm. And like you just said, he is who he is. He doesn't, but and he also like he's also not so stuck in that like mind frame. Like there's so many other characters, and it's what keeps this character from what keeps this character working for a feature length film and not just a sketch is that it's built into this character that he does have some weaknesses and that he is like a person who's human. He is a devoted soldier.
Yeah.
And I love the premise. I love the scene with him and the general where he's like, wow, there's no one left to kill. Like, and like, that's kind of funny. And it, you know, it's a little to the, you know, it's that, you know, absurdity. It's that exaggeration of him saying like, you know, look, I kill people. Like, I like to kill people. That's what I do. But when it also then makes sense when he kind of like realizes that, okay, maybe I was a little hard on the kid after Karen Parsons, I forget her the
Emily.
character's name, Emily.
Yeah.
Is kind of like, hey, like, don't do that. But I also like when he, and this is the little engine that could scene. I appreciate that he's like, you like, maybe like the only way that he's going to stop doing this is if he learns that, you know, at a certain point, you need to stop doing this. You need to stop thinking that there's a monster in your closet or whatever.
Right.
And I love his solution to that because it's so true to his character.
Right. Yeah. When he's told that there's a monster in the closet, he goes in there and he fires off a few rounds into the closet.
Well, yeah. After his final attempt to like get the kid to not be scared.
Yeah.
You know,
and hey, it worked. It worked. But, and also, if for anybody who hasn't seen Major Payne, the little engine that could scene, he's with the youngest of his cadets who is, you know, kind of sidelined for being too small to kind of do the things that he wants to be doing. Yeah. And so he tells him a version of the little engine that is in Major Payne style. It is not the traditional telling.
I mean, isn't it set during the Vietnam War?
Oh, it is absolutely bananas. Dan, the moment in this movie that actually had me laughing out loud, and I'm wondering if you had this moment too, is and I'm not worried about spoiling this movie because it's not that kind of a movie.
No.
But the moment when he kind of has the breakthrough and decides to not go back into the military and instead go back to like the kids competing in the games. Yeah. And he has his like daydream about his life with Emily and also the smallest cadet. I guess they like adopt the kid or whatever.
Right.
And he's like fantasizing about this life with them and they're drinking lemonade in the front yard behind a white picket fence. And then like some Viet Cong guy like comes out and he like kills the guy and throws him onto the grill. And he's just like fantasizing about this and smiling. And that moment actually got me. I did not see it coming. It is very inappropriate. Oh, and I just was so tickled by it.
Yeah,
that it got me.
Okay, so I'll give you the moment that got me, and it was earlier than that. So another sequence that I appreciated was when they're trying to like do the sequence where the kids are trying to like prank him and that like they put laxative on a cupcake for him. I love that he just totally no sells everything, or he's like a step ahead of them, or he's just like too tough to fall for it. And like he eats the whole thing and all the kids are like, what happened? And then the kid with the ears, the Shermanator, goes to walk past and, you know, the impact of all this laxative is simply a fart that just knocks the kid out. And it's so sophomoric, but I like between that, like just the little smirk on Damon Wayans' face when it happens. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's like, I didn't see that coming. I didn't expect it. And
this is also the kind of guy who you think like, oh, this is the guy who probably is like microdosing cyanide, so that he doesn't like get killed in combat or like gets captured and killed or something. So like you gotta get that impression, and who knows what is actually going on if he knew what the plan was or whatever, but
I mean, he might have sat there and shat himself and totally no-sold it just to be like, it is not going to happen. I'm going to
this does not impact me at all.
I am just going to like let it drip and let it run down my leg. And you know what? I know.
Gross.
No. Well,
gross.
Yeah, it is. It is. So that I appreciated that. It was all these character things that made sense, and where it made sense for him to come back at the end. And I mean, the one thing that didn't make sense was her falling for him, especially when she falls for him. Like it's just kind of like, boom, we've got under 90 minutes to wrap this up. So,
but it's that kind of a movie where, and also it's like she catches glimpses of him trying to improve himself. Like she gives him this book about, how to treat children or whatever it is. And like she sees him like reading it. And the fact that he's reading it at all.
He quotes it to her.
Yeah. Yes, he does. But then also it's like she sees him reading it. And that I think is impressive and not expected of him. And
but
so
not out of character, because he wants to succeed.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
it's a fun movie. It just kind of does what it needs to do. It gets you in and out pretty quickly.
It also has kind of like, and it mixes in some fun elements. There's a little bit of the slobs versus the snobs mentality with the competing prep school.
This group is clearly not, built to excel. They're a ragtag bunch.
No, first of all, there's an age range from about 6 to 20.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little strange. I don't quite understand how that works, but whatever.
That doesn't make sense. And of course you've got your token fat kid, though they don't necessarily like mind that for laughs. And if anything, it's really just kind of like when you see him accomplish something, you're just like, all right, go for it. But you don't really see him fail.
There's just like towards the beginning, they kind of pick on him for his weight.
Yeah.
And also it's like they're doing this whole thing where they're trying to make it seem like Payne is like in bed with a woman. And so they put him in a dress because he has the biggest boobs.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess that sequence was,
And that sequence, it gets us to a funny moment where they're all wearing like formal wear, women's formal wear running through the campus. And that's fun.
It's 90s. And today we would say it's like, right.
Certainly not.
We are not going to make it seem like it's anything less or, of course.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. But 1995 sensibilities. It tracks.
But it's another moment where he's ahead of them, and when he's like sleeping with his eyes open, and when the kid lays down, then he puts his arm around.
It works. It works.
But in this but the thing is, in this type of movie, the kids, like I think about like something like Heavyweights, the kids do usually get the better of the adult. And it's not that this movie isn't like sympathetic towards the kids. It's even, and it's not like, mean old adult. It's a little fish out of water.
Yeah. Well, also, since you mentioned Heavyweights, that's one where it's not only the kids that are the protagonists. There are some adults that are included in that group. Yeah. And so it's not just kids versus adults. It's kids versus a specific adult and like a group of specific adults.
But the authority
it's very satisfying, and it's very satisfying when they do get one over on that group.
Right. But it's like, it's usually the authority figure is usually the because even the other adults,
power dynamics,
like the adults, like the Paul Feig character is really like a big kid.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Right.
Yeah. But it's a fun, I like that it embraces those, though, like, I feel like it really embraces certain stamps of the genre. Or certain, and, but puts its own spin on it. So, like, I have to, I'm not to, put you on the spot or anything here, but I happen to notice that on Letterboxd, you gave the movie a rating of
what did I give it?
You gave it 2.5 stars, but I have to agree, like that's the perfect rating for this movie.
It all depends on how you grade movies, and it's like, if you're scoring it based on like, does this movie do what it sets out to do?
Yeah.
And does it perform at that level for like the time it's out and all the context and everything? Then it probably would get a higher score, but that's just not how because it's like, oh, am I going to give this the same rating that I'd give to like Ghostbusters? No.
Well, or even Billy Madison,
or even Billy Madison. Right.
Yeah, no, but for what it is, it hits that like 2.5 stars. Like, to me, it's kind of like, hey, I expected 1.5 to 2 stars here. I expected 2 stars. I got a 2.5.
And there's nothing wrong with 2.5.
No.
Yeah.
No,
right down
not
the middle, 5 stars.
I mean, like, if it's like, if you're given 2.5 stars to, like, the movie that's supposed to be like a 5-star brilliant thing, like, that's probably saying something. But like this movie is not made for, it's made for like not even Letterboxd ratings, but like Rotten Tomatoes audience ratings. Like, it's not for critics. So
no, totally. I had a lot of fun watching it. It's an easy breezy movie. I had my guffaws, I had my chuckles, and I had my groans as well. And that's pretty much sums it up. No regrets. But also, it's like Virginia is a tough one to find a movie for, since we are also covering Washington D.C. separately.
Right.
Because so many Virginia movies are Washington D.C. movies.
Yeah, there's a lot of like old westerns that aren't necessarily,
that are hard to find.
Yeah, they're hard to find, but honestly, this movie is very much, it's not just like filmed in Virginia and like kind of secretly, like it's the Virginia State like ROTC championships, and it's between the schools in Virginia and the people. It's not like these are military schools, so
right. Yeah,
like,
that's something I was trying to figure out at certain points. Like, is this just a boarding school? Is there more of a military component to it? Or no. This is just their junior ROTC.
Well, I wonder if maybe if boarding schools in Virginia had like a stronger ROTC.
And that's what this movie kind of implies.
That would make sense,
considering there are the other schools. But where they filmed this is the same place that they filmed Toy Soldiers.
I read that.
And by the way, every time I say Toy Soldiers, I have to remind myself not to say Small Soldiers. They are two very different movies.
Correct. Yes, I don't know where that movie. I don't remember where Small Soldiers took place, but yeah, and I don't know that Toy Soldiers. I don't know that Toy Soldiers necessarily like claimed its setting as a specific state, as compared to this, where it's very clear.
Yes. But yeah, I don't know. And so it should also be noted, this film is a loose remake of the 1955 film The Private War of Major Benson with Charlton Heston. Right. I tried to find it. My local video store, Movie Madness, has it on VHS, but in order for me to like, and you can rent VCRs from there too, but like, I was like, is it really worth it for me to like dig this up and everything? And the truth is, no. That movie was also loosely remade as a TV movie in 1984 called Hard Knocks, KNOX. And some of the kids in that one are played by Alan Ruck. And Dan, you're going to have to help me with the pronunciation on this last name because I know that you know it, but it's Casey Shamasco?
Shamasco?
Shamasco. From Young Guns.
You say Shamasco, I say Shamasco.
It's Siemasszko.
From Young Guns, 3 o'clock Guns. High, End of Mice and Men.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this movie, it's not incredibly its own like original thing, but I feel like it stands out. And of those three, it is likely the most well known, and perhaps even did the best of the three of them in general. So
probably
way to go, Major Payne.
Yeah.
The fact that The Private War of Major Benson is so hard to find and you don't hear much talked about it. I think that there's like a TCM interview where they talk about it, but that's basically all I could find.
Cool. Yeah, but definitely one to look out for. And if you happen to notice it, if you see that title is streaming or whatever, like, hey, check it out, and then check out Major Payne, and if you've never seen that, and let us know. Email us at ruinedchildhoods@gmail.com. Of course, we're not done yet.
No, we certainly are not. Yeah, I've got some fun things, but first, Dan, I want to hear what you would do given the opportunity to do something with Major Payne.
Well, first, I would like to say that I feel that putting this character in a contemporary setting, especially in the like participation trophy era, would be fun.
Okay.
So that's just an idea. My idea though is I dare I say this would make a fun musical. And John, you know what? Of course, if I'm trying to figure out, okay, will this make a fun musical? I have to think to myself, okay, do the musical numbers jump out at me? And in not too much time, I came up with this list of song titles.
Oh my God. Bring it on.
The ultimate, and it's pretty much in the order it would go in. So, The Ultimate Soldier, that's the opening number. No One Left to Kill. Mediocrity, and then parentheses, Welcome to Madison.
Okay.
The idea is that they're just they're not necessarily the worst, but they're not the best. They're very mediocre. Their like Latin motto is Nos Illuch, which means we'll get there.
Okay.
I knew that going in from another story for another time, but yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
The next song is called Turds, and then that's the sequence when they're trying to get one over on him.
Yeah, and also should be noted, turd is Payne's favorite thing to call the cadets.
Well, until they are promoted. But we'll get there. That's Act 2.
It's his motivational word.
Yeah, that's Act 2. So there's Turds, The Little Engine That Could.
Okay.
Babying babies just gets you babies, baby.
Oh my God.
Which
okay.
I thought that was a great, there's a line that's like that. I don't think it's the exact line. And then there's if you want to get rid of me.
Okay.
My stepdad's an asshole.
Okay.
Turds to maggots.
Okay.
Muscle mass. That's one that I'm like, the fat kid kind of needs a song, and that's like as they're training and he's like getting stronger in muscle mass. Basic Training, that's a romantic duet between Emily and Benson. Someone Left to Kill.
All right.
Win It For You, that's after Payne leaves, and that's Alex and the whole squad singing about like not doing things for anybody else, but just why they're doing it for themselves and what they gain from it.
Okay.
Say It to My Face, that's Payne's Return. There should probably be a song in there about like, maybe we just call it White Picket Fences and Viet Cong soldiers. I Can VC You With Me.
Oh my God.
And then there's Competition. So the final, like the drum lines, because that's a musical number. Like when they do, when Madison does theirs.
It's cool. It's fun.
It's totally very reminiscent of Stripes also.
Yeah.
And then Don't Push It being the final kind of like romantic duet between Payne and Emily, where he won't say I love you, but he'll say I really, really like you, like a lot. But like, yeah, Don't Push It. And then the finale is No Pain, No Gain.
Okay.
But I love it. Another thing I appreciate about the movie is how it sets you up with like the next class of cadets. Yeah. And that you kind of get and it actually feels like this was a movie, like this was a pilot that was getting ready to go into a series, so that you kind of have your established characters and then you bring in kind of like your new cadets. But yeah, I was like, this could be a musical and you could totally end it with that. And, with him in the squad singing No Pain, No Gain. And
sure. Yeah.
So, God damn it. I really did not expect that. But I have to say, Major Payne, the musical, I would see that. I'd buy a ticket. Much sooner than like all due respect, Back to the Future the musical. I'm glad people are working, but like I don't want to see Back to the Future on stage.
When there is a movie that is so beloved, to do a musical of it, I feel isn't as enticing to me as something that was like kind of an underdog, kind of like oh yeah, I remember that movie. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a fun thing to do with that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like it can live again. And also when you adapt something as a musical, it's you could be looser with like casting, and you can revise it a lot, and maybe you set it in present day and you have a thing where like, it's the parents talking about like, participation trophies or whatnot.
Right.
But whatever, you don't even have to do that. Like there's enough in this screenplay to go with.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I got for you, John. What do you got?
Okay. So one of the things that I was wondering when I was watching this was if my memory was correct, which it was not, and that there was like at the time or like right after this, like 96, an animated series. And there was not. But it feels so right for there to have been. And so I would love for there to be like a 90s animation style Major Payne series.
Yes.
And, it's kind of like, there's like the X-Men 97. It's kind of in the style of the old X-Men cartoon and stuff, like almost like G.I. Joe style animation.
Actually, I'm thinking of something like the Beetlejuice cartoon animation style.
I think that's a little
or like
too...
Bobby's World.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm envisioning Major Payne in kind of that like G.I. Joe-ish look.
That's kind of funny.
I mean, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But like I feel like in that classic animation style, where it's like, the focal point of what's going on is the only thing that's really moving, and everything else is just kind of like staying still, except for maybe like a blinking eye. And I would love that. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Is this more of like a Saturday morning cartoon, or is this like an action cartoon, like an after school cartoon?
Oh, after school cartoon. It's kind of, I'm also thinking like the Captain Planet style of animation.
Oh,
and
okay.
And also it's like, it's not for kids. This is not the kind of thing that would, I think, appeal to kids. But I think that if it was a Wayans production, and clearly Damon Wayans could still do, if he could still do the voice,
absolutely,
which is its own thing, or it's like maybe it's a Damon Wayans Jr. kind of a thing, and I think both of those could be fun.
I agree. It was funny because when you said animated, I totally went the other direction and was thinking of like a fun Saturday morning, and it makes me, it actually made me flash back to when you would see the commercials for like the new shows that were going to be on that. And it was like, Major Payne on CBS at, 9:30 a.m. after whatever else would be on Pac-Man. I don't know, the whole Saturday morning cartoon block. I I have a quick anecdote, and it's a very quick anecdote because nothing really happened, but I do feel like it would be appropriate. And maybe I actually probably mentioned this before that we've talked about Damon Wayans. Have I told the story about when we were basically walking with Damon Wayans into a Broadway
When you
show?
say we, who are you referring
so
to?
it was me, our other brother Scott, and then Jeff, former guest on the show and friend Jeff Rubin. Was there.
Wizard episode.
And there was some other people there, but it was going to see the Pee Wee Herman show. And it was like the first night of previews, and Damon Wayans was as we're all just like kind of walking through the doors, we looked up and we're like, that's Damon Wayans. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Of course didn't say anything to him or
no.
Why, but
no. Yeah.
Anyway, so that there's my Damon Wayans story that I will have probably told every time we've done a Damon Wayans movie. So
yeah, Damon Wayans is awesome.
Yeah,
cool person to see out in the wild.
Yeah, and you know what? After watching the movie, and I think about your suggestion, I'm like, hey, it would be fun to hear Damon Wayans doing that character again. I wonder if he would enjoy that. Yeah. Damon Wayans, if you're listening, email us at ruinedchildhoodspod@gmail.com. Is that something that would hypothetically interest you? Let us know.
Yeah, totally. Dan, before we move on and talk about what we're covering on our next episode, I just have a couple of quick things for you. I'd love to, because you mentioned this on our last episode and it got me thinking about it for this one. Do you think there are more horses or boats named Major Payne, spelled Payne?
I'm going to go horses.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Incorrect. It is a tie. We have 2 horses named Major Payne and 2 boats. Both horses were born in 1996, so they must have been named for the character.
Had to have been. I wonder if they meant, did the Wayans own them?
I couldn't tell you. The boats, one of them is was registered in 1988. The other one says NA, so we don't know if it was perhaps in reference to the movie, but
well, look at who owns those horses. Do they have other horses named like Blank Man and Homie the Clown?
No. Well, the parents of the Major Payne that I could see were not. They were named like typical, horse names. But yeah, I thought that was fun that there was 2 of each.
You asked me and I was like, you know what? It's probably, I'm like, it's a toss up. It could be just as much one as the other. And I didn't even think to guess tie, but that makes so much sense to me.
That was a trick one. And also, we did this on the last episode with Baby Boom, to see the titles from other countries and what they translate to. Oh, and Baby Boom had some really fun ones called like Who Called the Stork and stuff like that. Major Payne has some really funny ones, and I'm going to run through a few of them. Argentina, the title translates to We Will Win with an exclamation mark. Brazil translates to Trouble Squad.
Nice.
The German translation is At War with Major Payne.
Okay.
The Greek title translates to The Great School of Captains. Hungary's is pretty great, which translates to Major Stone Brain. The Mexico one, I don't even need to translate, but it's Mayor Problema, so major problem. And Poland's may be my favorite, which translates to Puppy Army. I know. That's pretty good. The look on your face.
Is that a reference to the very last scene of the movie?
I couldn't tell you, but it's fantastic. I appreciate it. And it's always fun to see how things translate into for other countries where maybe pain is not necessarily going to make sense for their language.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a whole pun on the name.
It's a play on words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might not translate.
So that's that. Dan, I cannot wait to talk about what we're doing on our next episode because, oh boy, the pairing with Major Payne. This is really a to be continued.
Talk about a tonal shift and yet also a perfect double feature here.
Yeah.
We have got 1982's An Officer and a Gentleman, directed by Taylor Hackford, starring Richard Gere, Deborah Winger, David Keith, Robert Loggia, and in an Academy Award-winning role, Louis Gossett Jr.
Yeah.
We've also got a young David Caruso in there and
Yep.
some other familiar faces. So, yeah, a shift in tone, but also some connective thread.
So many connective threads. I'm so excited for us to talk about this. I will reserve any further commentary until our next episode, but this is to be continued because these two episodes will work in tandem. And how beautiful is that?
Yes, it is going to be. I mean, it'll lift us up where we belong. That's, tell you that much. And that's for Washington State. That's Washington State.
It filmed in and set in Washington State. Hard to believe we're already in the final letter of our journey through America.
We are, as I'm running through the end, I'm like,
Washington, D.C., Wyoming.
Yeah. Wyoming.
West Virginia.
West Virginia is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Wyoming, that's it.
That's it. That's gonna be
that's
gonna feel weird when we wrap it all up.
And listen, Starfighters, if you're like, what are they possibly gonna do after this? What else could they possibly do over the course of a full year? Oh, just you wait. Well, Dan, while you are marching to some of Major Payne's completely bananas rhymes, I wish you a good journey. Good journey.